All right. Well, it's good to be here and talk through the first Wednesday of a good month as we get into May finally. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed that 78, 81. I mean, I was enjoying that at a track meet and really finally feeling like summer had shown up. So, kicking off a new month and a new topic, Mental Health Awareness Month. So, I was like, hey, let's talk about some things that come right out of the counseling office and bring it into the gym and be able to pass that on without people coming in, and a few other key topics as the month goes forward. So, review of Monday is three of my favorite kind of quotes. And it's not so much that every situation is the same because everybody's unique and their circumstances they get in are that way. But with humans, in terms of all of our usual patterns and struggles, there are things that come back up and forth regularly. The first one was progress is measured in millimeters sometimes, right? Around the gym here, and we do just kind of a stand there and hold this weight. And we know after a while it gets super tiring and hard to do. I think that's a good example of what it can be like mentally or emotionally under certain things. The people just standing there are indeed exerting a significant amount of effort, and you can't always move as fast ahead as you want. Somebody's like, progress is measured in millimeters. You moved ahead. Something is a little bit better, and that's an important thing to keep in mind. Second, when it comes to relational things and starting a day over and trying to reset something. Maybe there was a bad day, a regret, something was said. The question I like to encourage people to say is, what can I do tomorrow to help you have a good day? It allows people to come together, reestablish a partnership, kind of work together in teamwork, and it feels like a fresh start. And then finally, this one usually gets stated when someone has some regret or a situation kind of rose up and bit them, so to speak. I like to say, do not overestimate your strength and underestimate the circumstances. Because too often people say, I've got this, no worries, I'll jump right in. And suddenly something goes wrong. They get stuck. They start taking shortcuts. They start to get overwhelmed. Maybe there's some regret that builds up. So, always trying to say that to people that don't overestimate your strength and think, I've got it, I'll be okay by myself, and then underestimate the ways a circumstance can be challenging. So, to echo that, the two homework assignments this week was number one, reading through that list from Monday and seeing which one might be beneficial to apply in your own life. It covers a broad range, but hopefully it leads to the second homework assignment is like write out your own. What is something you have learned through trial and error, success and failure, and maybe you haven't remembered it enough. So bringing it back to the forefront of your mind is kind of the goal this week to make sure that in the busyness of our schedules, the other focuses we have in routine, we don't forget about our mental health. So your own statements are pretty valuable on that. Back to this week with thinking of particular dates in the course of a week. Well, tomorrow is May 8th is National Have a Coke Day. So that's one that I was citing. In our house, we are Coke people, not Pepsi. That goes back to early on in Wisconsin. I was trying to build my private practice. For about 2 years or so, I stocked Coca-Cola in the grocery stores from 5 to 9 because it didn't interfere with anything else. So I am used to getting up at 5 a.m. a long time ago and doing it again here at the gym. But so now we're loyal to Coca-Cola. We'll choose our restaurants based on do they have Coke or Pepsi. And if it has Pepsi, it's usually some grumbling. We really want to have that food. But anyway, back to some facts here about Coke. Invented by a pharmacist, just like Dr. Pepper, John Pemberton in Atlanta, Georgia. Even the bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, suggested the name because the two C's would look cool in ads, he felt like. So we can thank the bookkeeper for the Coca-Cola. The curves and grooves of the classic contour bottle design was inspired by the cocoa bean. And in 1985, Coca-Cola became the first soft drink in space. So a little product placement for them. In 2011, the secret formula for Coke was placed in a vault on permanent display at the exhibition at the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, Georgia. And finally, if all the Coca-Cola bottles were laid end to end as of 2016, they'd reach the moon and back 1,677 times. So I know, Kelly, that's painful for you when you think about your career and your investment on Earth. So that's a lot of Coke, and that's 10 years later. So maybe it's 1,700. That was 2016, so it's probably a little bit more. A little bit more. of how it goes. So back to thinking about ways to keep mental health on top of us. A question that I got chastised by 5 a.m. for was, how do you prioritize your mental health each day? And they all kind of shrugged and rolled their eyes and said, we're here 6 days a week. So I had to then like be smarter and say, I'm splitting hairs here. Like, what else do you do besides coming to the Pearl Street Gym to prioritize your mental health every day? So I'm getting smarter as I ask these questions. But what comes to mind for you guys that were here? You know, what's a way you keep it beyond being here right now? What can you do every day to keep that mental health a priority? Lots of good answers all day today, by the way. Mhm. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. That's a great word. Well, but zooming in and going slow and looking, that's a good, respite activity just to pay attention to things, tune out some of the noise elsewhere. So that theme's kind of been echoed through the day of doing that. Now, Bill, what about you? Anything come to mind for yourself? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, outdoors, nature, walks, spiritual disciplines have been cited throughout the day to day, little escapes. And I really like that idea. You've heard me time and time again say, what's your list of things that are go to for you to reset the day or whatever? And this is what it all comes back to, because if we keep our mental health and the things that give us rest, respite, peace, etc., it's a great way to deal with some of these final recommendations I'll make in just a minute here. The follow-up question I've been asking is there a statement or something you default to in your own already you think of that helps you not get burdened by the day? So examples are like, don't sweat the small stuff, right? You think of people's emails and little signature on the bottom, they might have something listed, bumper sticker material, those kind of things. But is there a statement you keep coming back to that helps you to just not get pulled down into the muck of life sometimes? What's the statement? And if it's hard to think of it now, the question illustrates what the point of this week is, like to kind of keep stuff on the forefront of your mind so it is available to you. It's something to go to right away. So that one I mentioned about don't sweat the small stuff is certainly a popular one. But even other people will just say, look, tomorrow's a new day. They've got something that comes in, or the encouragement we receive from other people in our support network, from a parent, a spouse, a mentor. Those are all sources of good quotes and statements that might help people get through. And the point of it all comes back to this one. So, thinking of these final recommendations to keep mental health a priority, I think number one is taking care of your emotional heart every day helps your mental health be strong. The reality is, everyone's here at the gym to kind of take care of their physical heart, to make sure things are flowing and they're going well. And if there's a pain or an ache, what do? We modify, we accommodate, we ask Bill a question, we look for a way to strengthen it again. But the risk, I think, is that so many people emotionally or mentally ignore the pain that's there and they just power through. They they ignore it, they don't address it, they go forward. It's just as painful to watch on the outside if someone has a physical injury and they're ignoring it while they try and work out. Emotionally, mentally can be the same thing. Second, don't avoid addressing any negative thoughts that come up internally. When you think about being outside and enjoying things, usually about peace and quiet or some gentle sounds, everything else. So we can make the environment around us very peaceful, but challenging people that when the internal environment between their ears is tense, negative, critical, that's when something has to be done as well. Usually that might be conversing, talking to someone. We covered last week about different ways to, self-direct some help or talk to a peer, go to a counselor. If you can resolve the critical thinking inside, mental health's going to improve. And then finally, the gold star everybody gets coming to the gym is that the impact of physical activity helps rid your body of internal tensions. So it is an escape to come here for a workout, maybe Thinking of sports and other activities people like to do, basketball for me was a 2.5, 3 hour escape from the world and limited senses. So it's like a good time out and you go back into the real world again, but you have a new sense of perspective. You have a new energy, you have a new way to combat it. So any physical activity can be the same thing, even if it's a 15-minute walk or activity with somebody else. So really trying to try these different things, deal with the emotional heart, deal with the negative thinking inside, and be physically active, I think are ways to keep mental health as prioritized as possible. And I think that's what this month is about, especially as we start with this. Like, what are the statements that motivate us and inspire us to keep our mental health strong? So we have 3 more weeks left to talk through some other priorities that will come to my mind as we keep it an awareness so we can share it for ourselves and share it for others. But good to be talking here at noon. Have a great workout, both of you, and I'll see you on Wednesday next week. Thank you.